This is a video with the solutions for the Year 7 Procedural Numeracy Test 2014. Question 1. 67 add 89. There are a number of different ways to do this. What I'm going to do in this version is I'm going to do 67 add 90, which is 157, and then I'm going to take away 1 to give me 156. You could obviously add them in columns alongside it if you wanted to do it in a more traditional way. For the second question, 123 minus 45. What I'm going to do here is 123 take away 50, which is 73. But because I've taken away 5 too many, I'm going to add that 5 back on, giving me 78 as my answer. But again, I could do a subtraction in columns problem alongside if I wanted. Question 2. Megan buys juice and biscuits. The juice costs £1.35 and the biscuits cost £1.79. She pays with a £5 note. How much change should she get? Well, the first thing I would do is add up the two items, and I will add these in columns. So, starting on the right, 9 and 5 is 14, so I will put 4 down, carry 1. 3 and 7 is 10, and the 1 I carried is 11, so 1 down, carry 1, and 1 and 1 is £3.14 is the cost of the two items. So what I would then do is I would do £5, take away £3.14. Now, to be honest, this is probably simpler to do as a mental arithmetic question than to do in columns, but I will do it in columns as I added in columns last time. So my problem with the first column is 0 take away 4, I can't do it. If I try to borrow from the column to the left, I still can't do it because I've got a 0 there. So I'm going to borrow from the 5. That will go down to become a 4. I will then make this first 0 a 10. I'll very quickly cross that out and turn that into a 9. And I will put the 1 in that first column. So now I can do each column. 10 take away 4 is going to be 6. 9 take away 1 is 8. And 4 take away 3 is 1. So the answer for the change is £1.86. Question 3. What number is 1/4 of a million? Well, a million is really 1,000,000. So if I do half a million, it's 500,000. And if I work out a quarter, I just half my half a million. So it becomes 250,000. The second part to this question is what number is 100 less than 20,000? Well, if it's less than 20,000, I know it's going to be 19,000, and it was 100 less, so it's 19,900. Question 4. 240 divided by something equals 40. So what I could do here is I could do some inverse operations and work backwards. I could ask myself, what number multiplied by 40 would give me 240? And I know that 4 times 6 is 24, so the answer is 6. Okay, I could do something similar in the next one. Blank divided by 9 equals 21. Well, I'm going to use inverse operations again, and what I'm going to do is instead of divide 9, I'm going to do 21 times 9. Now, 20 times 9 is 180, and 1 times 9 is 9, which together gives me 189. Question 5. The length of a snake is 762 centimeters. What is its length in meters? Now, what this question is looking for is not for you to say it's 7 meters, 62 centimeters. It wants you to use decimals because it only has the word meters in the answer box. So the answer is, it is 7.62 meters. Question 6. Calculate the area of this rectangle. Now, the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width. If we take a look at this rectangle, we can see that one edge, the length is 12 centimeters, and the other, the width is 6 centimeters, and 12 times 6 is 72. The interesting thing is now we have two answers to choose from. One is 72 centimeters, one is 72 centimeters squared. Now, the units for area are always units squared, so 72 centimeters squared is the answer. 3/5 of a class are boys. What percentage of the class are boys? Now, what I would do in this instance is I would take my fraction 3/5 and I would turn it into an equivalent fraction and eventually turn it into a fraction out of 100, which is what percent means. So the first thing I notice is if I was to take this fraction and double the top and bottom, I would make an equivalent fraction of 6/10. Now what I would do from there is I would then multiply top and bottom of this fraction by 10, and then I would have 60 hundredths. And we know that percent means out of 100, and this is 60 out of 100, so the answer is 60%. Question 8. Here we have a pair of trainers, and the tag on the trainer says was £45, sale 10% off. The question is, what is the sale price? So to work out 10% of any quantity, we divide it by 10. If we work out 10% of £45, we would have £4.50. Now then, the question is though, what is the sale price? So the price is obviously £4.50. What we then have to do is take our £45 and we have to minus the £4.50 from this, which is going to give us £40.50 as our answer. Question 9. What is 100 squared? Well, squaring a number means to multiply it by itself, so it is 100 times 100, which is going to be 10,000. Simply put those zeros together, and it's the 4 zeros. So the second part of this question is, the square root of a number is 4. What is the number? Well, we're going to work backwards and square again. So if we do 4 times 4, that would give us 16, would have been the original number. Question 10. The clock in the picture shows the time 11 o'clock. What time will it show when the minute hand has turned through 270 degrees? Well, the minute hand is the long hand, and if it turns through 270 degrees, 90 degrees would take it to 3 o'clock, quarter past, sorry, or 3 o'clock, whichever you want to think of. Another 90 would take it down to 6, and the final 90, which makes the grand total of 270 degrees, would take it over to the 9. So that would take the time to quarter to 12. So it's 11:45. Question 11. Write in order 0.2, 1 quarter, 23%, 0.02. Now, in order to compare fractions, decimals and percentages, they must all be the same type of number. So what I'm going to do is turn them all into percentages. So the first number, 0.2. Now what will help here is if I put an extra 0 on the end, which doesn't change the number, then we know that 0.20 is 20%. The 1 quarter, you should know that is 25%. 23% is already a percentage. And the final number, 0.02, that is 2%. Now that they're all percentages, it's very easy to see which is the smallest, next smallest, and so on. So the smallest is the 2%, which was really 0.02. Next smallest is the 20%, which is 0.2. Third would be the 23%. And finally, the 25%, which was really 1 quarter. Question 12. 20 minus bracket, 12 divided by 4, minus 2, close bracket. Well, this topic is BIDMAS, or order of operations. So, using BIDMAS, we would have to do the brackets first. Now, within that bracket, what we also have is we have a choice of do we do a division or a subtraction first. And again, following the letters in the word BIDMAS, we would do division before subtraction. So 12 divided by 4 would give me 3. Now then, to finish off this bracket, I would have to work out the 3 take away 2, which is 1. And finally, do the subtraction. 20 minus 1 is 19, and that is the final answer. Question 13. Complete the frequency table for the list of prices. Now what I would do here is I would go through each price one at a time and tally it in the necessary place in the table. So first of all, $7.99, well that's going to be in the middle. Secondly, $18.79, that's in the third group. $3.99, first group. £15, top group. 75p, bottom group. 89p, bottom group. £10, top group. $12.95, top group. $7.50, middle group. $5.60, middle group. Now, the only interesting thing here is what I've actually filled in that table is tally marks, whereas actually what it asks for is frequency. So I must put the numbers in. So we have 3, 3, and 4 as our frequencies. Question 14. 24 times 0.5. Well, 0.5 is a half. So this is the same as saying what is 24 lots of a half? And that would be 12 wholes. Second question, 5 divided by 0.1. Well, this is the same as asking, what is 5 divided by 1/10? Well, there are 10 tenths in one hole, there are 20 tenths in two holes, 30 tenths in three holes, and so on. In other words, dividing by a tenth or 0.1 is the same as multiplying by 10. So the answer is really 5 times 10, 50. Question 15. In a survey, 750 people were asked which colour car they liked best. 3/10 of the people chose black, so how many people chose black? Well, when we're working out a fraction of an amount, the first thing we would do is divide our number by the denominator of the fraction. So 750 divided by 10. So that tells me that 1/10 would be 75. But I need 3/10. So what I would need to do is multiply that by 3. And the answer would be 225. Here we have a pie chart which shows how pupils in Year 7 travel to school. Underneath the pie chart is the sentence that says there are 120 pupils altogether, which is going to be important. Okay, first question. How many of them walk to school? Well, when you look at the slice of the pie chart for walk, you'll notice there is a right angle. That's a 90-degree angle, which means that that takes up a quarter of the pie chart. So that's a quarter of the 120. So we half it and half it again. Half is 60, half again is 30 pupils. Okay, so how many of them cycle? Now, interesting this one, because if you look at the cycle part of the pie chart, that is 60 degrees. Now, that is exactly 1/6 of a pie chart. So that means 1/6 of the people in this survey are going to cycle. So that's really a sixth of 120. So if we divide the 120 by 6, we get 20, and that's the number of pupils who cycle. In a nursery school, the ratio of adults to children is 1:4. So this means the adults is the first number, that's the 1, and the children are the second number, which is 4. The second line tells us there are 56 children. How many adults are there? Well, that means that the 4 and the 56 are linked. Now, that's obviously been multiplied by something. We need to figure out what that something is. So what we can do is we could work backwards, and we could do 56 divided by 4. So, what is a quarter of 56? So if we half it, it's 28. Half it again is 14. So that means that the 4 was multiplied by 14. If we do exactly the same to the 1 and multiply it by 14, that tells us that there would have been 14 adults. Question 18. Here we have a table of different times of the day and different temperatures in degrees C. First question, what is the range of the temperatures? Well, the range is the difference between the highest and the lowest. So if I look through that table, you can see the lowest is -2 and the highest is 9. Now, the difference between these two numbers is quite interesting because one of them is 2 degrees below 0, the other one is 9 degrees above 0, which has a combined gap of 11 degrees C. The second part says work out the mean. Now, in order to work out the mean, what you would have to do is add up the numbers in the table and then divide by how many numbers you have. Well, the interesting thing with this table is that if you look at the last two numbers, we have a 2 and a -2, which when you add those up are going to give you 0. So we can actually save ourselves a little bit of time, and we can add up these three to get us the total. So 9 and 3 is 12, 12 add 8 is 20, and then we can divide 20 by 5, because there were 5 numbers altogether, which gives us a mean of 4 degrees C. Question 19. Complete this table. We have a map distance of 5 centimeters, and we have a scale of 1 to 1,000, and we have to find the real life distance, but in meters. So the map scale tells us what to multiply by. So we're going to do 5 centimeters times by 1,000, which gives us 5,000 centimeters. So what we have to do then is we have to convert it into meters. Well, there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter, so what we're going to have to do is find out how many hundreds are in this number. So we're going to divide it by 100, which is going to give us 50 meters as our real life distance. There are 32 packets of crisps in a box. Altogether, how many packets are in 27 boxes? So this is a law multiplication question. I'm about to do this question using the grid method for law multiplication. So I'm going to partition my 32 into 30 and 2, my 27 into 20 and 7. So top left multiplication would be 20 times 30, which is going to be 600. Top right multiplication would be 2 times 20, which is 40. Bottom left would be 7 times 30, which is 210. And the bottom right would be 2 times 7, which is 14. Then what you would have to do is add up those numbers. So we have 600, 210, 40, and 14. And we would have to add those up. And the first column comes to 4, the second column comes to 6, and the first column comes to 8, giving us a grand total of 864 packets of crisps. Question 21. Round 348.5367 to 2 decimal places. Well, the first 2 decimal places are 5 and 3. So the answer may well be 348.53. But what we have to do is decide whether that 0.53 will stay as it is or it will round up. Probably a good idea for me to rub out my writing now because I obscured the really important digit. The digit that is important is the next digit, the third decimal place, which is the 6. Now, a digit of 5 or more will in fact have a rounding up effect. So our answer is going to round up and it's going to be 348.54 to 2 decimal places. Question 22. Write in the missing decimals. 10 divided by something equals 100. Well, if we're going to divide by something and produce a bigger answer, we know that that has to be a number that is smaller than 1. So, 0. What is it? Well, 10 times 10 would be 100. So if we divide by 0.1, which is a tenth, we know that has the same effect from earlier in the video of multiplying by 10, and this is in fact our missing number. Okay, so the second one, 300 times something to give us 15. Okay, well we know this is going to have a 5 digit in there because 3 times 5 gives us 15. But we also have to have a decimal that has the effect of making this number a considerable amount smaller because it becomes 15. So what we're going to do is our answer is going to be 0.05. Question 23. To make barberith for 8 people, you need 450 grams of dried fruit. How many kilograms of dried fruit do you need for 20 people? Now, to cook this for 20 people, you would need 2.5 lots of the recipe, because 2 lots would cook for 16 people, and half the recipe would cook for the extra 4 people, making a grand total of 20 people. So what I'm going to add up is I'm going to add up 450, 450, and then half it, which is 225. And that will come to, first column is 5, second column is 12, carry 1, then we have 4, 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 2, 5, but that is in the same units as the number that was given to us in the question, which is grams. Now, if you look, the answer wants it in kilograms, so what I've then got to do is divide by 1,000, giving me 1.125 kilograms.